So there we are, have it, a famous passage. Hands up if you've been to Cana. Anybody? Oh, you don't know what you're missing. Needless to say, I have. And it was in the late 80s when I went, and sorry, the late 90s when I went. And what you call it, there's some stone jars outside the church there, which, of course, the people who are looking after the site claimed were the original stone jars from this very time. And a very poignant moment it was as well, because a couple with our party decided to renew their vows there as well. So that was a very, very pleasant moment for everybody. So we have 6 stone jars, each with 20 to 30 gallon capacity, filled with water on Jesus' command. And the next thing you know, it's the finest Merlot that you could taste. So how did he do it? Well, on the face of it, it's a miracle. It's the first recorded miracle of Jesus. It's a somewhat reluctant miracle, but nevertheless, it's a miracle. Now, is there something else going on? Well, we may have detected from the reading, sorry, there's a bit of tension between Jesus and his mum. Jesus doesn't want to play any part in what his mum's requested of him. He just seems a bit tetchy, actually. But he sees sense in the end, and it all comes good. But is there anything else? I mean, it's fairly obvious, water into wine, but is there anything else that John is trying to draw our attention to in this passage? What about the symbolism of the water and the wine? Why water and wine? Well, as we all know, water is used for quenching thirst. In a church capacity, it's used for baptising, and for Jewish ritual purposes, it's used for washing. We wash with it, obviously. Water is the stuff of life. Water for the Jews was also very, 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 very important. Symbolic even, with the parting of the Red Sea. Wine, I'm glad to hear, was very important for the Jews. And Psalm 104 says it's wine that makes glad the hearts of man. And I can readily identify with that, but not too much. So we have the symbolism of the replenished wine. The new wine is a symbol that we use at communion, when we had communion, when we remember Christ's body and blood broken and shed for us. And if you remember, we've got good memories, the minister, when you receive the wine, says, "Take and drink this in remembrance that Christ's blood was shed for thee, and be thankful," which is from the Book of Common Prayer service. When we say that, it's a remembrance of what Jesus did for us on the cross. And perhaps in the act of that communion, receiving the wine, it's a reminder perhaps of what we should do for others as well. Well, do what? Well, Mark reminds us that the Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many. As someone puts it, those little unremembered acts of kindness and of love, acts that help me move from my sense of self-importance into helping others, doing what I can to bring fruitfulness into others less fortunate, living compassionately in and for the kingdom counts. So what did Jesus learn from this event? Well, I think he learned to listen to his mum. He learnt about empathy. He learnt about compassion. He learnt about kindness. I think he learnt about overcoming his indifference as to what was going on. By the way, has anybody here been to a wedding reception where it's been alcohol-free? I have, and it's bloody boring. It was 3 hours or so of my life that I will never ever get back again. But I think what Jesus learned was love, and what we can learn is love. A mother's love for her son, a son's love for his mother, and a man's love, somewhat reluctantly, to see the party go on okay. What can we learn from this event? No matter how hard something might be, how impossible it might be, no matter how many people will tell you you're wrong, that you're going to fail, if you truly feel it deep within, if you tap into the one, the Messiah, the Holy Spirit, then you can achieve anything that you set your heart on. Mary believed in Jesus. Jesus believes in you. Jesus believes in signs and wonders, and signs and wonders are still possible today. And having people who believe in each one of us is truly empowering. I can remember many years ago when I was working for United Biscuits, and we hit rock bottom as a site. Massively things went wrong logistically, and with me being responsible for the site, the buck stopped with me, so to speak, and I just came with the gnats of losing my position and being sacked. But somebody had faith in me. They believed that I could turn the site around again. And having that belief in me was empowering for me and enabled me then to get to work, to change the circumstances and to begin the change in that site. It's not long ago that we celebrated Christmas, the birth of Jesus, Emmanuel, God with us. And in that act, God shows that he loved the world, that he loves each one of us. There are miracles of love taking place around us all the time. There are acts of generosity, acts of forgiveness, acts of kindness, acts of care and compassion. And again, I can personally testify to that in my own personal circumstances with the death of my wife just at the beginning of December, and the care, compassion and love shown by the congregations in this mission partnership. But it's so easy to miss these acts of generosity, forgiveness, kindness, care and compassion. Have we missed those miracles that have transformed our life so much? Perhaps we can't see the wood for the trees or the water for the wine. Recognising the Creator in this story, recognising the Creator in our story is important. And seeing the miracle is only half the story. We need to see Jesus surrounded by his family, his mates, his disciples, his community to grasp the whole story. And when you put those two halves together, you'll find the full glory of God shining into our hearts. And that's something that I've learned over the past 8 weeks or so. That I'm surrounded by family, I'm surrounded by friends, I'm surrounded by community, and I'm surrounded by God. And when we put these together, we can find the full glory of God shining into our hearts. So, our task is to continue to trust God and to bring that vintage wine, that new wine, that Holy Spirit to tired people that are on the outside, tired people in this pandemic, tired people who want to know that there is new life awaiting them. And the challenge is for us, each one of us, is to speak up and speak out and say, as I mentioned last week, come and see. Amen.